Hello, everybody. Good evening. Hope everybody had a great weekend and a great Memorial Day. We're going to play Scythe Digital Edition. If you haven't played Scythe before, it's a fantastic board game released by Stonemaier Games not too long ago. I really don't know when. I want to say within the last 5 years. I believe it was a Kickstarter game. It was crowdfunded and just took off in popularity. And it is kind of a post-apocalyptic-ish, taken during the Cold War, in Russia-ish, Ukraine area, and there's different clans, and they have different qualities in that, and you are just trying to, um, you are a leader, and you are trying to kind of expand your territory and expand your wealth. Um, and I know that the board game, there's a little bit of a learning curve because it is an asymmetric game, meaning that each player, each faction, has their own board, their own tableau, if you will, and they are different than the player next to them. So it's the thing that makes it tough is that, um, not only when you're first starting to learn the game, you have to learn what the heck you are able to do, but then you don't have to, but eventually you need to start learning what the other players will do because it's different than yours. It's not like a Monopoly where everybody can do the same thing no matter what. You know, this um, is much different and it makes for very interesting gameplay. Um, and I am finding that asymmetric games are becoming more and more popular. You got Scythe. Another one of my favorites is Root. Root is a very asymmetric. Let me see. I'm trying to think of some other ones off the top of my head. Those are the two big ones for me, and I'm sure that there are others. Um, Twilight Imperium. I would I would call that asymmetrical because all the factions can do different stuff. But for this one, I'm just going to go ahead and play against. Um, I don't know if I should do two or maybe two other AI players. I'm by no means an expert in this game. Um, I actually have played more of the board game itself than I've played the digital edition, but this is so great if you can't get together with your friends and play. This is fantastic, especially if they have an online version. I don't think I'm that good yet, so I'm not gonna hop into that right away. But let's uh let's get into it. So we'll do a new game, and we are going to. So you could have another player, like if you were sitting here next to me, we would just go back and forth, same with, you could have a bunch of us around the computer if you wanted to. Or you could just eliminate a player altogether, you could add them. So for me, there's an easy bot, medium, and then hard. I just played against a couple of easy bots just to kind of get my feet wet. It's been a little while, I played the game not too long ago, just as practice on this, and it was a lot of fun. But I ended up winning, but barely, and it was against two bots that were on easy setting. So you've got a faction, and they have got different things that they can do, and this is kind of strength when it comes to fighting. This is combat cards. And then their abilities. Walk across the river, and all this sounds probably, if you've never seen this before, it's overwhelming. Basically, there are faction-specific qualities. And this is the Saxon Empire, and they have got this. Crimean. They don't have any combat cards, however, they start out with inherently more power. And then they have, because you have your leader, and then you've got up to 4 mechs, and they can kind of go out and act a little bit like your main leader can, with some differences. So I won't go through them all because there's so many. And then within a faction, there's also a player map. So you have faction-specific stuff, but then you also have a player mat that goes with it. And there are this is the different starting stuff you can do. I'm not going to go through these, and industrial tends to be more industrious. So everything about this game is asymmetric. And between the faction boards and player mats being able to be mixed and matched, you've got lots of replayability and lots of different combinations. It's a very fun game. You have some games where it's going to be very difficult for you to do anything, and you have some games where the player mat and the faction just kind of mesh well together, and it can be a lot of fun. So what we're going to do is we are going to set this to random. And we won't know who we're going to get. We'll play against 2 guys, 2 easy bots. And down here they've got promo cards and prevent, ban, mat combos. Like right here, like I was saying, the Russviet Industrial and Crimea Patriotic, those 2 combinations might have an extra advantage and therefore are not officially recommended. So if you check that, it will purposely, when it does this matchmaking, it'll make sure that nobody gets those. If you have it unchecked, then you can go nuts and have anything. So let's get started. I haven't messed with this too much with the undos. I figure if you lay it down, then that's what it is. So I end up with Saxony again, which is fine. I had them before. So they are going to start with I am Scatterbrains, and I'm going to be playing against Polania and Ruskviet. And Saxony starts out with only 1 power, but they have a lot of combat cards. And then I have 5 coins, and the coins are essentially going to be your victory points. You get victory points as you play the game, and you'll be able to spend coins to do other things as well. The hearts are popularity. When you instigate fights that cause workers to retreat, I believe, that will cause you to be less popular amongst the people. And I will, let's get into it. This is the map. The middle right here, that is the factory. So it goes through here. They're the patriotic, and they have the Ruskviets have agricultural, and they're going to allow me to go first. And this is my player mat. And the cool thing about this is, for the first turn, you can select anything. But let's say that I select this action here, this produce action. If I do that this turn, in the board game, you put a little peg. There's a piece that comes with it, a little pawn. You put it in that section of your player mat, and then after that, on your next turn, you move that player pawn to another action. They do that because you can't do the same action twice. So I couldn't produce 2 times in consecutive turns. So I can go to produce, and then on my very next turn, I could go to bolster, and that usually bolsters your military might, gives you command card or combat cards, as well as power. So then, you know, now that I've done bolster, I could, if I wanted to, go right back and produce some more. There's on these ones, there is the red squares here means that you're going to pay something, and the green squares here mean that you're going to get something. Over here, for movement, you don't give anything. You just, you can move 2 people. Move up to 2, and then you can upgrade it. And then as you progress, you can improve your tableau, your character map here. So there's going to be a top. So produce has got a top action that's always going to be available to you, and then a bottom action that is optional. And I guess they're both optional, but there's a top action first, and then if you have it, you can spend 3 oil, and then you could get an upgrade and then 2 coins. And we're going to go through this, and I'll try to talk as much as I can without getting too rambling. So in the beginning of the game, this is your home base. This is my character. And your character can do all kinds of stuff. They can pick up quest cards. They're the ones that can go into the factory over here and get a bonus action over here, which is kind of neat. And they are going to be one of them. One is the characters and the mechs that are going to be the ones that are going to be engaging in combat. If you see these little guys here, these are the workers. So when I produce, they will produce whatever resource is in here. Mountains produce iron. These produce more people. Oil in the tundra. Wood up here, the forest. Food over here. Okay? So for my first one, so I've got him in my base, my 2 workers out. So I would like to maybe get some more workers. And I'd eventually like to get myself a mech. So I think I'd like to really just bang these out, get a mech so I can get water walking, so I can cross these rivers. Right now I'm isolated to my little peninsula here. Once you get water walking, your character and your mechs can go. So let's do that. So what I'll do is I will go over here and I will select move. I'll confirm that, and I will move one of my workers over here, and I want to keep him here, so I'm going to move him. You know, I could move him here to kind of protect my worker a little bit, but in the first turn, I'm in no danger here, because the other players, they're going to be working to kind of build their infrastructure first. So I'm going to go ahead, and I am going to move over here. Now, if I had 3 food, I could, down here, if you look, I can conduct this other action. Enlist recruit, and that's kind of a neat thing you can do. After you click on it, it tells you not enough resources. Let's say your turn's done, buddy. Let's move it along. So now it's the, I think, Polensky's turn. So they're doing a move, and it tells you what they do. They chose to produce. So we'll go over and visit them. They chose to produce. So wherever the workers are, they're going to produce 1 metal and 1 extra person. So now they have 3 people. So it's back over to me. So I am going to produce, actually. In the beginning, it doesn't cost anything to produce, but as you get more workers out, it takes more as these little gold people start to come off of your board. Then on that 3rd worker, it'll actually cost me 1 of my power. So the more workers you get out, the more it's going to cost you. So, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to produce. So I'm going to produce. See these little green hammers? That means I can produce on 2 hexes, which is fine because I have 2 hexes. So I'm going to produce 1 metal and 1 person, and I'm done. You know, like I said, if I had 3 oil here, I could do that secondary action if I chose to. Even if I had it and didn't want to, I can do that too. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little shuffling. I'm going to move again. Because these little green things here, these are encounter tokens. And the only piece that can encounter these encounter tokens are your characters. They're called characters or leaders. So I'm going to do a little shuffle. I'm going to move onto my character up to here. See how it twinkles? It means I can get that. And then I'm going to move one worker down to here. So now I'm going to I draw an encounter card. There's usually going to be a scenario. So I have got 3 choices. Looks like something got broke down. So I can take photos for the overlay, or for the overly enthusiastic soldiers. If I did that, I gained 2 metal or 1 popularity. Which is good, because I would like to use some of that metal and be able to get a mech started. I could hire a mercenary to join my group. I can pay 3 coins, $3 of my 5 to enlist a recruit. Or I can practice my shooting on the unsuspecting targets. So I would pay 2 popularity, I lose my only 2 popularity I have, gain 4 metal. And I don't really feel like doing that right now. So what I am going to do is, I think I'm just going to gain 2 metal and 1 popularity. It's all gain, no pain. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and just this take. Perfect. Now if I chose to move. If I had the 3 food, I could do my second action. I don't. And when you move, you can carry your resources with you. You actually should carry your resources with you, because if you leave your resources behind, you essentially do not control them. That's what it is. You don't control them. So now what I'm going to do on my turn is I want to build a mech. The mech costs 4 metal, you can see right down here. And between my characters here, between my men, I have got 3. What I'm going to do is this is a trade action. You can pay 1 coin, and I can get 2 of any resource that I'd like. Or I could pay 1 and get a popularity. I don't need that right now, though. I want that extra metal. So I want to produce metal. And, boy. I would eventually like to do an upgrade to make some of these things cheaper. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop an oil. Okay. And now I've done that. And now I can build the mech. I'm going to pay. I'm going to click on that. It says pay for metal. Choose a mech and place it on the hex with your worker. Your character and mechs will gain the uncovered ability. So I'm going to confirm. I'm going to pay for them. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So now on your player board in the real game, you have your 4 mechs. And you take one of the figures off and it would reveal an ability. So you can choose. So for me, I want to choose Water Walk or River Walk right away. I want to be able to expand my horizons and get out there before anybody else can. So I'm going to click on that. So now my characters and my mechs can go across rivers. What is very nice, there's my mech. See? Pretty. And here's my guy with his pet wolf. So, what is nice is that your mechs can bring along an unlimited amount of workers that are on that hex. So if I wanted to move my workers also with me, I can load them up in my mech for free, which is kind of neat. So I've done that. I've got one mech out, and I am going to utilize that mech probably in the next couple turns to do some crossing. They have produced. They're going to start to expand. So they are going to, I'm guessing, they are really piling on the workers on that oil. So they have 4 workers on there. So if they do the produce action, they're going to get 4 oil. So for me, I would actually like to boy. I can't trade because I did that. Let's move. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move. So I'm going to show you what I can do here. So I'm going to take this and I can water walk. You know, and I selected my mech. Down here I can take one worker with me or all of them. I don't know if I wanted to do that yet. Yeah, I should. Okay, so I'm gonna load him up, and we're gonna go for a little ride. He comes with me, and I think what I'm gonna do is I like to pick this up, this encounter card. So we're gonna go ahead, and I'm gonna give the impression that I'm gonna cause some problems here for this guy. But really, I'm not. I'm just gonna slide over here and pick this up. And just like I thought, they're producing. So what I'm going to do is this is a wood, and I would actually like to produce some of that. I do want to upgrade though, so let's do this. We're gonna trade. We're gonna do a little trade. 1, 2, and then I don't have the metal. I'm gonna end my turn. And they upgraded, and I'll show that in more detail once I do it. So right now I'm gonna move. I'm gonna, you know, I'm kind of not running as nicely as I would like to, but I am. I'm going to keep on chugging. So I'm gonna move him over here. I do want that encounter, and I would like to get some food. These, and what's nice over here is these are mines, and for all intents and purposes, see you have the mines here? All these mines are considered adjacent to each other. So what I can do is I'm gonna roll it up. I'll land here and take him here. I would actually like to start producing some food. Alright, let's see here. I like his little mitts on the strings. He's supposed to be some tough guy. He's got his little mitts on the strings, and his bear's like, bro, let's go. It's cold outside. This says the bears frolic together in the snow, gain $2 in a popularity. Very nice. Start a bear cavalry by enlisting the animal. Ooh. Pay $3 to enlist one recruit. Have a bear meat sandwich for lunch. I do need food, but I don't want it that bad. Uh, I will. I want to get more coins when I spend my oil, so I'm gonna enlist one recruit. So what happens is this: when you enlist a recruit, it's another way of upgrading your infrastructure. On the bottom part, I'm gonna take one of these away, and I'll get a reward. And it's either going to be power, coins, popularity, or combat cards. And the way that it works is that not only will I get those immediately, if my opponents that are adjacent to me in a 3-player game, they both are. If they do the upgrade action, let's say I picked that. If they did the upgrade action, I would get a bonus to that. So it's early in the game, so I would think they might want to. They haven't built any mechs yet, I noticed. So I think they're going to build some mechs. So whenever they do a deploy action, I'm going to get more coins. So I'm going to pick this. So I'll get a coin every time. But I would actually like to get my hands on. I'm a little low on power. So I'm just going to bump the power up just a little bit. And what am I? Move. I don't have the food yet. So they're trading. They're going to spend some money and get metal, 2 metal, I guess. And they're going to build. You can build structures that have special abilities. That little mill, that windmill, is treated like a worker. So it also produces on its own regardless. You get that. You get whatever it is on. Can't move it. So every time he does produce, even though he doesn't have, if he didn't have workers there, it would still produce a wood because of the windmill. And it's treated like a worker, so he still controls it. So what we want to do now is I want to do this action here because I've got my 3 oil and I want to upgrade a little bit, make some of this stuff less expensive. So I'm going to produce on 2 territories. So let's do food, and let's do a metal. So now I'm going to, I have the 3 oil. I can unlock an extra benefit for any top action. And then I can take that, in the game there's like these little blocks. So you take one from the top, and it would reveal that you'd be able to get more of one thing on the top, and then you put it down to make something cheaper on the bottom. I'll show you how that works. So I first got to pay for it. Cost oil. So I need to take from something here. I would like to start I want to build a mech next turn, and I want it to be cheaper. So I am going to, and I want to produce more at the same time as well. So I'm going to take my block from here and drop it down here, and I get $2, 2 points. You can see now mech only costs 3. So now I'm going to do this action, get 2 metal right here, and then I'll be able to get myself a mech, and then I'll be in business. So this guy's kind of gambling over here. So he deployed, if you notice that. He deployed, he made his mech, and that's why it went over to me, and I got the bonus coin. So this person here is kind of gambling. They haven't got workers, a lot of resources, and I believe I'd be able to reach them. I believe I can reach them. Let me see my skills, maybe. Also, you get two, like, they're kind of secret mission cards you can get. You can build at least 3 structures, none of which are adjacent to your home base. Or I can control a territory with my character, exactly 1 mech, exactly 1 worker, and at least 5 resources at the end of the turn. You get a star for that, and they're not lit up here. But once somebody gets all the stars lit up, that triggers the end of the game. They don't win the game, but it just triggers the end of the game, and then you would count up your points. If I knew I could come across here, I would I'd attack him actually. Oh, move across rivers to forest or mountains. So I can't do that because that is a field. That is unfortunate. So he's safe. What I will do is I will go ahead and say what I was going to do is just need to get 2 metal, and I will get a mech. Pay for it. So I can move between any mountain I control and any tunnel. So for me, any mountain counts as a tunnel, which really kind of spreads things out. I would like to move a little faster, so I'm going to actually pick up the speed. And I am going to drop this right here. Just because it's on a tunnel, and maybe I can jump out and catch somebody off guard. I think I need some more people now. So I'm going to move. I'm going to move him here so he can create villagers. And then perhaps I still want to make some food. So I want to... He is eventually going to go here because I want to be able to get an extra ability. These are usually pretty awesome. We're going to make our way over here. Okay. So I can't move again. So I am going to start producing. And because I upgraded this, I can start to produce on 3 spots. I'm going to do that. I'm going to produce a person, a metal, and 1 food. And I don't have 3 oil, so I'm not going to do anything there. I'm going to end my turn. And it looks like the Russians here are really working on upgrading their whole thing. They're not doing too much expansion. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move. Can I make it there? What do I want to do? You know what? I'm gonna make a mine. I mean, I'm gonna make a mech because I'm gonna start bringing these guys across the river. Oh, we gotta pay for it. Duh. I have a feeling that when I start expanding, I'm gonna begin to fight a little bit. So I am going to. Yeah, I'm gonna have him lose 2 power. And I'm gonna drop him right here because he's gonna start to haul these guys next turn. He deployed, so I should get something for that. Yep, I got a coin. I want to move. Yeah, let's move. I'm gonna load up all my men here. We are gonna go here. Yep. Now, ooh, this is tempting. You know what? I'm gonna pick this up and then shoot up to the factory. All right. Offer to translate for the locals and the soldiers. Gain 2 oil and 1 popularity. Make a high stakes bet and win a mech. Pay $4 to deploy 1 mech. I would get my first trophy because I'd have all my mechs out. Intentionally mistranslate to rile up the people and seize control of the oil refinery. Pay 2 popularity to gain 1 worker and 3 oil. A lot of popularity. I do like the mech. And then I can move that worker out of it. Let's do that. When I moved, I don't have any food. Yeah. So I'll probably produce, and then I'll produce, and then upgrade again, and then move. So I am gonna check. So right now, nobody's got a lot of power. These guys don't have a lot of power, but they have a lot of combat cards. You can add to the. You can use those cards to add to your attack power. See, the Ruskiev have got a lot of upgrades done. They're doing a good job. So I will produce, and now see how this is lit up. Since I've taken those two warriors or two workers off of there, I have to pay a power. But that is all right. So I'm going to build here, or I'm going to produce. And then I have two workers here, so I'll produce 2 wood. And then I'll go ahead and I will. I don't have enough. Bummer. Well, never mind. Okay, so I think, yeah, I'm going to move because I can use that 3 food to enlist, and I want to do that. So let's do a little moving. So I'm going to pick him, and I'm going to take all my stuff with. I'm going to chug right up here. And kind of want to bring him along. Let's go pick him up. Unless he can move by himself over here, he can't. Although, you know what? I'm gonna have him produce some more people, so that'll be fine. So okay, so now this screen is the resolution whenever your character, whenever your leader gets in the factory's in the middle of the board, you will get a new action on your little player mat right here, and these are all the different things. They're usually pretty awesome. So, and then at the end of the game, if you're in there, you gain points as well. So for this one, I will, if I pay 1 power, I can get 3 coins. And if you notice on the bottom of them, if you want to, it gives you an extra move, which is pretty cool. This one is I can pay any 1 resource and get 1 combat card and 2 power. This one is I can pay a combat card, which I have a decent amount of. Pay a combat card, and I can get 1 upgrade and 1 power, which is pretty neat. And then on this one, if I pay a combat card, I would gain a worker and a 2 points, which is kind of nice because you can. That's a nice way to bypass what they cost here. But I do want to start upgrading, so I'm going to pick this one. And I will also enlist because I have the food. Ding, ding, ding. So I am going to pick up. Well, I guess what produces good synergy is if I can pick up this these combat cards, and the combat cards I would receive will feed into my new factory action. So let's do that. And we will get the 2 instant ones that we get as a reward. And we'll end our turn. he upgraded. I don't know if I get anything for that. I don't remember. I didn't. So I'm thinking about doing this here. Let's give it a whirl. I'm going to pay a weak one. This one's only +2 power. Let's do that. And I will generally want to do. I don't want to add. I don't need to bother with this just because I'm done on my last mech. It's not a huge deal. So let's plan on doing a lot. Have more mechs out. Let's take one from here and let's make building a little cheaper. I do not want to end my turn. See, I forgot about that. I can move. I can move one unit 2 times. I kind of want to pick on this guy, but he doesn't have anything. You know, you don't get anything for like for harassing him. Now, if he had a bunch of resources, I would be on him like a bum on a ham sandwich. But he's just sitting there. So let's move. Let's move him here. No, we're not. Okay. I'm thinking we should. I've got 2 wood here. Let's bolster, and then use those 2 wood to create a building. Okay, so I can create a mill, and the mill, whenever you use the produce action, the mill can produce 1 resource as if it were 1 worker. If there are actual workers in the same territory as the mill, they are also allowed to produce resources. Over here is the armory. Whenever you use the trade action, you also gain 1 power. Over here, you would get the monument. Whenever you use the bolster action, you also gain 1 popularity, which is kind of neat. You can get stronger, but yet you can gain popularity, which is nice. And then this is the mine. This is the mine acts as a tunnel that only you can use. So it's a tunnel, but no one, like I can't use this person's mine. They can use their mine that's connected to everybody else's, which is kind of neat. I plan on doing some fighting probably pretty soon, and I'd like to get some more power pretty soon. So let's do that. We'll do the armory. Or a monument. We'll do the monument right here. Actually, let's take a look at the special number of tunnel territories with your structures on them. So I do want to build it right here. Blank. And they're clapping, they like it. So now it's gotten interesting. There is a decent amount of resources here. I'm going to see if I can cause some problems. Okay.